Okay, so I think we can start. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this webinar focused on dairy this morning. It's a pleasure for me to open this event. It's a pleasure to thank all the speakers, starting from Cremona Fiere, the president, director of Cremona Fiere, Massimo De Bellis, my colleagues in Somalia, and also the companies, because today we are doing a matchmaking event rather than a classic webinar, because we would like to give the voice to companies in order to further the creation of partnerships with Italy. The production and marketing of milk in Somalia has been a traditional livelihood source for the agro-pastoral society of the country. As you know, it provides employment and income for a large segment of the population. In fact, Somalia is a milk-producing nation or have a substantial milk subsector. However, the dairy industry is underdeveloped and with high potential to exploit. So this is the point this morning. The role of UNIDO in this framework is to fill this gap. So to fill this gap through investor promotion, technology transfer, and know-how transfer. Our aim this morning is to support the Somali companies in finding the right counterparts in Italy, the right technologies to develop their projects in terms of cold chain, in terms of producing milk, to process milk and to sell abroad also abroad from Somalia. So thank you very much for participating in this webinar. Let me now give the floor to the UNIDO representative in Somalia, officer in charge in Mogadishu, my colleague Igor Skach. Please, Igor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Francesco, and thank you for organizing this webinar this morning. Actually, this matchmaking event, as you mentioned. Thank you for the support to the ITPO in Rome, and thank you also for the participants, both from the speaker panel, the companies, Cremona Fiere for the partnership, and the team in Mogadishu that is supporting the event. And all participants for attending. My name is Igor Skars. I'm the UNIDO Somalia representative and basically assigned as officer in charge in managing the operation of UNIDO in the country. I'm based in Mogadishu usually, even though at the moment I'm out of the country, but regularly present in Mogadishu, where we are managing, for UNIDO, we are managing a program that supports the development of small and medium enterprises in the main productive sector of the Somali economy. This event is basically the result of this kind of support that we have executed to the establishment of a network of 4 enterprise development units that are embedded within the Somali Chamber of Commerce and Industry network in the country. In fact, our dear friend Issa Halane, that will speak later from the Chamber of Commerce, Somali Chamber of Commerce in Mogadishu, is precisely the head of one of the EDU. And thank you, Issa, for attending today's opening. Today's event is focused on the discovering a little bit more about the opportunity that the Somali dairy sector has to offer. The type of opportunities here for when looking outside Somalia in terms of partnership or supply or business engagement with foreign partners is mainly focused on technology transfer. The opportunities for that in Somalia are multiple, considering the level of sophistication of the enterprises that we can find to be identified many levels. And then the companies today very happy that they express interest and availability to attend, because they will be able to provide them much better information than they can. The technology that primarily we noticed as UNIDO is of particular interest is related to improve overall, targeted to improve the quality and the productivity of the milk that is collected, and also the profitability in a way. We noticed as UNIDO during our various assessments, overall lack of support in the cold chain, la catena del freddo, basically. that can assure that from the moment the milk is collected, for example, to the moment it's processed or distributed on the market, maintain its quality and value to reach the final consumer. If I'm not mistaken, if my memory doesn't play me tricks, 85% of Somali milk does not reach the customer, the one that is produced locally. That means that there is a major loss in the production that can definitely mean a major improvement in the profit margin that the company, the overall sector may have in the country. So most of the activity happen at the level of peri-urban area, so in the periphery of the cities that are closer to basically the market. But that oftentimes means that the product that is produced in a more rural area has a harder time to reach the consumer. That meaning that the opportunity for improvement are many, given the entire supply chain and the entire sector of the dairy sector can be a driver for economic growth, entrepreneurship, but particularly also being a UN agency, we are looking at a lot at the level of women economic empowerment, and that is an area that definitely can play a role. I'll stop here, and I'd like again to thank you, the participants, for participating to today's opening and session. Particularly also would like to thank our donor, the government of Italy, that allow us to be here and to have a project like this one to execute and to be basically at the service of the Somali private sector and for the prosperity of Somalia overall. Thank you, and thank you, Francesco, for the floor.
Sorry, thank you, Igor. Thank you very much. Igor is our focal point in Somalia, so we can count on his presence to deepen all the aspects we will deliver this morning. Now it's a pleasure to give the floor to Cremona Fiere director, Mr. Massimo De Bellis. Cremona Fiere is one of the most important exhibitions in Italy for the zootechnical sector. We attended in 2019 in the physical exhibition in Cremona, the fair. It was very, very, very interesting. Let's hope to come again in this December or next year, hopefully. For the moment, we are doing this digital activity because we would like to maintain contacts with them because they represent all the entire zootechnical value chain in Italy. So, Director De Bellis, please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be today here with you. I'm sorry because I will have to leave the meeting soon because of we are in these days also a center of the vaccination in Cremona. But I want to thank you and to explain very quickly why to me and to us is so important this activity. As you said, we are specialized in several industry, but one and the most important here is one of the most important is the livestock sector. We have the International Livestock Show with all the equipment, services, machinery, and also animals during our show in December. Hopefully, we will have this year the physical show. Last year, we decided to stay very close with breeders and farmers, also in a digital format. But I know that it's very important to meet, to see, to touch, to explain, to be very well connected with other people and also people from other countries in order to improve our and your experience, because it's a way to share information, to share activities. Our goal, and when I say our, I think it's not just a matter of Cremona, but it's a matter of all the sector. What we do is to cooperate with international companies or institutions, and this is a good example of what we are doing in this moment. And in order to improve our activities, our approach, our model, and also to be able to improve other activities, other model, other approach, usually from other countries. In this case, I think it's very useful, and I want to thank you in particular, Unido. It's very useful to be able to create all these connections and to involve all the community. We are very well connected with the Center of Research, university, and institution in general, because I think that today, in particular, it will be a matter of efficiency of the production, all the chain, I mean, and sustainability of the production and all the chain. So these are two of the main goals of what we want to represent in our show. But let me say that show is not the complete way to describe what we are doing, because the show is a moment where will happen something, but there are activities during all the year, like what we are doing today. So the opportunity to create a useful matchmaking between companies, different countries, in order to be part of the improvement of the efficiency, the sustainability, because it's not just a matter of Cremona or of the Italy. I'm sure, because what I saw in these years is that all of us can do something for the environment, for the production, for the quality of the product, for the life of all the people involved in the chain, but not only, because customer and consumer are not directly involved in the chain, but they have to know what the chain are doing. So I don't want to use your time, that it's very important for you and for all the activity, but I wanted to conclude with a thank you for all the activity and what you are doing also today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director De Bellis. Let's hope to come in Cremona in December or next year, because the exhibition is very, very useful for us and also for other developing countries. It's a very, very large community, useful to create partnerships. I'm seeing some one question in the question answer space. So you can pose the questions in the question and answer toolbar, and then we can reply at the end. So after the presentation. So please, you can pose all the questions you want. Now it's time to go in the field, because we move to Somalia, we move to Mogadishu, and it's a pleasure now to give the floor to my colleague Najib in Mogadishu. He will deliver a presentation regarding the intervention of UNIDO and the state of the art of the dairy industry in Somalia. So Najib, please, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon for some people. Buongiorno, that is the only word that I know of in Italian. Is the presentation on the screen? Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. So thanks, everyone, and welcome to everyone, whether Italian delegation of Somalis and everyone from UNIDO and from the Chamber of Commerce. It's my honor to present to you the following presentation. So I'll just give you the project that we have in Somalia at the moment, an overview of the livestock sector, milk subsector, meat subsector, and later on we'll have questions and discussion points. So next slide. Just in a nutshell, the project that is designed for Somalia Agrotechnology is to assist the revival of the private sector in Central and South Somalia by establishing, as Igor already mentioned, a network of EDUs in 4 locations in Beledweyne, Baydawa, Mogadishu, and Kismayo. The EDUs are to support the Somali businesses in the starting up, rehabilitation, and upgrading of operations, and also accessing new technologies, markets, and financing facilities. The project provides technical assistance for the delivery of technical and vocational trainings to the local market needs. And also we have a credit facility for both micro and SMEs to facilitate access to finance, to support whether startups or expansions. Overall, the project aims at increasing the potential for economic opportunities and job creation in the productive sector of Central and Southern region of Somalia by focusing on 4 key actions: promotion of agro-technology, upgrading entrepreneurship development, delivery of vocational and technical skills, as I already mentioned, and a facilitation of access to technology, markets, and financing. If we move on to overview of the livestock sector, Somalis by tradition are a pastoral society with livestock rearing as part and parcel of the economy. It is the most important sort of food and income for the Somali, especially the rural areas and production. It is a source of income and nutrition for the Somali in form of milk and meat. It is estimated that around 65% of the population, according to FAO, is in some way or the other dependent on the livestock sector. The country has the following livestock sector, as you read in Somalia, as you can see on the right side of the screen. Sheep, goat, camel, and cattle as the predominant animals, while poultry and piggery are also reported to be reared in smaller numbers. Can you move on to the next slide? So if you can see in the below table, it shows that actually we have the most population in livestock that we have is goats, followed by sheep and cattle, and also the least is the camel. Just excuse me 1 second. So if we move on to the milk subsector, production and marketing of milk has been a tradition and a livelihood source of the predominant agro-pastoral society of Somalia. It provides income and employment for a large sector of the population, in particular women, and also what Igor has already mentioned is that this sector is kind of also led by women, which also is in sort of way woman economic empowerment. Milk production has gradually increased since the 1990s, but however, with a major setback in 2017. That is because of the drought that we Somali experienced in 2017. Milk by culture are the preferred milk sort is camel milk in Somalia, and that is also based on the cultural perspective that we have cultural instincts. As you can see in the below figures, the maximum milk production comes from milk, and then cows. Camels are are being sturdy animals, can survive during drought and other adverse conditions. When there is a shortage of fodder, milk has been culturally preferred compared to other livestock. Milk processing in Somali is very limited, with few exceptions coming up after gradual stabilization in the country, but it's still very small with limited access to market. One of the reasons is the underdevelopment milk cold chain, which affects not only the supply side, but also the storage for final sales. The impact of the situation is the large volume of imported skim milk and other products to Somalia, and even after Somalis being a pastoral society. Just recap. So can you go back, please? So as I mentioned, that Somalis import a lot of milk. Somalia is a net importer of dairy products, with concentrated milk that constitutes 4.7% of the total imports, valuing $157 million in 2018. Okay, meat sector. Traditionally, meat and milk has been the major source of nutrition for the population, as I mentioned before. Domestic meat production is geared towards local market need, which prefers fresh meat, not chilled or frozen. That is also the culture. People, they prefer go to the local butchery and get fresh meat instead of using refrigerators, for instance. According to the below figures, the maximum meat production comes from cattle or beef, followed by camel, though a combination of goat and sheep will be actually the highest. Can you go to the next slide? Now meat processing. Meat processing in Somalia primarily can be attributed to slaughtering of animals by the local butchery and catering to the urban and pre-urban market. The Somalian society, as I mentioned, they prefer fresh meat instead of frozen. Although Somalia currently exports chilled meat in carcass form, there is likely to be potential for further value addition. The hides and skins collected from slaughterhouses or butcheries are an important byproduct in meat processing. The moral of my presentation and what I try to convey is that although Somalis have, let's say, a large population of livestock and also being a pastoralist society, the meat sector and the livestock sector and also the subsector that I mentioned, milk, is really undeveloped, and that is because one is lack of expertise and lack of technology, the equipment that I just mentioned. But on the other hand, we can state that there is a huge potential in this sector, and I think that is also why a lot of donors and agencies are trying to invest in this sector. Also being UNIDO, one of the leading agencies that is now involved in trying to develop this sector, and also that is also one of the reasons that today we are having this event. Thank you so much. This is from my side. If there are any questions, please feel free.
Thank you, Najib. Thank you very much. So we are now in deep. So we are now in the field. So we saw the situation in Somalia regarding livestock, regarding the production of milk. You saw the biggest production came from camels. So it means that we have particular issues to analyze this morning. So regarding the production of milk, but also the meat subsector. Now it's a pleasure to give the floor to Professor Isse Halane, Deputy Director General of the Somali Chamber of Commerce in Mogadishu. He will introduce the Somali delegation of companies, and he also deliver a speech regarding the state of the art of the livestock sector in Somalia. Thank you, Professor. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Palaco. I would like to thank, first of all, these organizers of the meeting, starting from the head of the UNIDO ITP of Italy, Ms. Oteggia, Mr. Igor, the Director General of the Cremona Theatre, the Bellis. I also would like to thank and welcome the Somali companies here listed with me, Malab Al-Ami Baraka, Jubalan, and some milk dairy farm. Also, I would like to thank and welcome the Italian companies who actually give their time and standing to support Somalia. I would like to make a speech here for the dairy, mainly for the dairy production in Somalia. I would then, inshallah, try to speak a very little about the meat production. It gives me a great pleasure and honor to speak in this meeting. I would like to talk about, starting from the global point of view, which is the milk and meat production are extremely important in helping eradicate malnutrition, create employment, generate income for the farmers and producers, and of course for the government to get increased economic value, GDP. If you see the global agriculture provides a livelihood for more people than any other industry, primarily and secondarily, while dairy farming is one of the major agricultural activities. Quoted from FAO, it has been estimated that the milk production in the world in 2012, that's the data that I could get, it was 754 billion. Here I would like to know, despite being so much developed, when it comes to the dairy and the milk production in the world, you can see two very important countries which lies in the tropics have the upper hands. When it comes to the milk production, we know the role of the Indian government, Indian producers of the milk is number one. The same thing is a very, very competitive when it comes to the meat production to the South American Brazil country. So that is, I would rather say, could be a benchmarking for us if we want to develop with no excuse of any type, whether it's going to be technical, organizational, political, environmental, you name it. We don't have no excuses. We really, really do want to develop that. And so the livestock provide over half of the value of global agricultural output and 1/3 in the developing countries. I mean, Somalia is more than that. So milk is nature's most complete food and dairy farming, representing one of the fastest return of the livestock keepers in the developing country, although it is the most high capital investment required in the budgets. In Somalia, we discovered that there is no specific rearing scheme and no purposeful breeding selections. And we have also happened to tend the milk producers than the meat in terms of commercial rights, because we know that the Somali way of rearing that has already been mentioned is the nomadic system. And all what we have to put in the market is the subsistence of the families which actually try to gain some income for their families. But still, we don't have that much of a commercial one, except the one which now is flourishing around the big cities like Mogadishu. So animal production is not really persuaded, as in the milk markets and the meats, it's just surplus from families with livestock who then sell it for extra cash for their families. However, Somalia has got a huge potential and have a very good number of livestock, herds overall when you see that, which includes half of the world population camels, and we have the detail being seen from the presentation, Mr. Najib, which I would like to correct there, that I would rather say there's more big farming in Somalia, and the number of camels, which I've got a question mark my point of view. And going ahead in regard to the milk plant in Somalia, that was only one in Mogadishu back in the days that we have got the dictatorship in Somalia. And nowadays we don't have that much of oil plants, which you could say very covering a big part of Somalia. So milk plant is something that we still see people, although I've seen some companies claiming to have that. Because of the recent increase of urbanization, natural disasters, and conflict, consumption of animal products, specifically as been said now, the camel has an increase and there is a great demand for it. So we must take advantage of this increasing demand and help bring about the farmers to produce animal products and the byproducts as well. Therefore, these farmers and livestock industry will need training, consultancies, trade facilitations, capacity building, breeding programs, great access to the information and availability for market access. And this is a whole lot of needs that needs before we do talk about the output and value that we see there. With this pronounced gap between availability and demand milk, Somalia is dependent on importing dairy farms to meet the domestic demands. So the rural areas is something very much less seen when it comes in terms of commercial development. Somalia should be striving towards the self-sufficient dairy production, at least in the national consumption of raw milk produced, which is about 200 liters per year per person, that we don't even have now the data that we could cover. Currently, as we have mentioned before, the overwhelming majority of the milk moves through the import marketing chains with adulteration quality of milk, and frequently leading to the consumer's position that local dairies products are both unhygienic and unsafe, and they have got a very bad connotations when it comes to that it is not safe health-wise. Furthermore, in general, Somali dairy farmers will still have difficulties to compete with the imports of dairy products as long as the world or regional market prices remain beneath the production cost of milk in Somalia. In addition, the milk produced in Somalia is not competitive on a regional scale as a producers. So addressing the main constraint to the tropics, which we are part of it in dairy farms, in spite of the several decades of dairy farming and development, the productivity of the smallholders farmers has remained alternative, relatively low due to the lack of appropriate dairy research and extension consultants. That actually would have given a very good giant step forward to due to the social economic conditions and agroeconomic conditions is a great difference to those in the developed countries. The small farmers cannot readily adopt the science and technology available internationally. There is a gap, and we need to fill that gap. That we could only fill that gap through extension, training, research, and consultation if we want a very quick start. Even the most appropriate technology is very rarely, I used to see so many times, adaptive appropriate technologies. So we need to be careful how we're going to make interventions and need to be making some sort of research for us to be able to take advantage of what the needed projects is taking us and the experience of our brothers in Italian companies who are very much interested in that. So we need to make sure that we establish this industry as an economic powerhouse, and we must do so carefully and properly, so as to reap the full rewards of helping eradicate malnutrition, great employment, and general increase for the producers and the actual economic development as it is in Somalia in general. When it comes to the meat, we don't do meat as such, except these nascent activities that we see mainly in Mogadishu. But when it comes to meat, we do talk about mainly, and I would like just to underline, the meat we do talk about is live animal we do export, which has got a very much negative impact. And if you see the presentation that my colleague Najib did, which is 3.9, though confusable and very much eyebrows raising, it is very much hard for us to continue that way of live animal in exporting. We are not like Australia developed, which actually export the animal that have already been get peak of its production, that has no value as a meat that has been actually fooled the markets that we're not still competing with them. So I would like to a little bit hold that and underline out in concluding that what we need is we need 3 layers. I mean, the very first layer that we need is to think about the animal health, animal nutrition, animal breeding and genetic programs, and animal welfare. So we have a safe, well-cared animals. And the second layer that we need to look at is the structure that we need, energy that we need, infrastructure that we need, and management that we need to be able to run this farm. After that, I believe that we need another organizational level from the dairy. That's specific for the dairy farmers. When it comes to the organizations, we need mainly to create and establish what we call the plant processing, milk plant processing associations that needs to make so many different collection points so as to be conserving and using fully the milk that we did produce. I finished my presentation, my speech here, and I really thank to Mr. Polak, who really generous, welcome to this presentation. Thank you very much, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. For those who did not understand the speech because of internet connection, we can send you after the event all the presentation. You can find all the presentation on our website, and also we can send you this very, very interesting intervention by Professor Sisse. Okay, now it's time to give the floor to the companies. So let's hear from the field which are the technology needs, which is the situation in the private sector in Somalia, starting from Malab Dairy Company. So Mohamed Bashir Omar, you have the floor, Mohamed, please.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. All protocols are observed. And I would like to do a brief presentation regarding our company. I don't know whether I'm going to, yeah. Yeah, Malab Dairy was established in 2015, and it's a small-scale company which produces finished goods. We process the milk, and we produce set yogurt and drink yogurt, and also we used to produce cheese, but recently we stopped, but we'll restart it later. And the company has another branch in Kenya, but the British office was established in 2015, and the aim was to process the milk and also to create an employment opportunity. That's the reason we established also this office in Mogadishu. Can we go to the next slide? The company is young according to the needs in the market, but we are growing, and also we are trying to handle a lot of things. We start from buying a space that we are going to work, and also we build the space. We also bought from machines from China, other countries, also Turkey, but still we are trying to cover the needs that the market needs to be covered. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, this is the vision of our company. We were trying, or the aim was to become the leading prepared dairy company in Somalia, East Africa, and to provide quality dairy products to our customers at affordable prices. And the company committed to supply higher quality, optimum nutrition dairy products where customer safety and health is a priority. In order to get out our company mission, we commit ourselves to being loyal to buy of milk from our producers. We aim to provide sustainable wealth to our stakeholders by supplying and providing quality and affordable products. We build trust with our customers We commit to develop and grow our team so that they are able to operate in a safe, caring, and secure environment. We strive to our activities support the protection of the environment. Malab Dairy is currently producing high quality yogurt from cow milk and sell in Mogadishu. The company intends to produce other products in due course. Currently, almost all milk products are imported, with the latest statistics on trade indicating that 2050 total exports amounted to 266 million and imports were 1.88 billion, leaving a negative deficit of 1.16. In the same year, milk powder imports were 38.9 million. Milk was also 3.55 million. Butter and others also were 700,000. According to our estimates that in 2013, that the milk was also 6 times more important than meat in Somalia, and consumption averaged 329 liters per person, higher than Kenya and Sudan with 198 liters per person, and 26 liters per person, respectively. Milk production in Somalia was estimated to be a total of 586 million liters a year, so Central producing 492 million a year. Much of this milk is consumed only locally with little no value addition at all. Demand can be deserved from imports, which means it's high and currently we produce yogurt, chicken yogurt, and also we used to produce cheese, but recently we stopped due to some other problems getting the machine. We used to use it, but we will restart it later. And also we are expecting to start a fresh milk. We get, UHT machines, by the process machines here, but not yet started. But it's our, goal to start also this product. Based on current estimate, the company intends to make gradual increase in production by 70% over a period of 6 months, of which profitability will increase by 90% per month, according to our plan of the 2021. Our market target are mainly young age people and psychographics in Mogadishu, and our market size is 2 million people for the time being, but we are very hopeful that it will reach approximately 4 million in the next 3 years after 2021. Our competitors are only starting to come up, and we know of only one who has just started, but facing a huge challenge of finding quality milk. Our competitors, according to the producers of the yogurt, are importers who are unlikely to make it because of prices and patriotism of Somali community. Essentially, Malab Dairy is most established now in the market with little competition. Malab Dairy products have various competitors' advantage. Prices, for example, compared to imports. Fact that it is working with the local dairy milk producers provide great advantage also. Quality is another aspect which we are mastering to ensure products meet consumers' needs. This is covered with the branding Malab is Somali word for honey, which connects well with consumers. Our sales and market strategy include establishing distribution centers in each district and downtown so that the distributors make our products reach the retailers easier and efficient. The distributors get our products with discounted price so that they will sell it all with the price we distribute at a retail level. This relieves us about 50% of the direct distribution costs. We established aggressive business-to-business sales and distribution channels targeting the retailers who are direct reach the target households. We also developed marketing campaign that addresses the consumers' needs, tests, and preferences. We are listening to the end consumers and retailers so that they respond to the very needs of the target. Currently, we give promotion that we intend to attract consumers, in which a person may be the winner of the getting blender machine, ironing devices, or other, or even gas stove. We will develop an advertisement campaign that draws the attention of our customers. I will move on this slide, go to the second one. This one. Yeah, this is the needs that we are right now, looking for. The company needs to buy, UHT milk feedstock as a dairy processing machine or UHT pasteurized milk production line. And also we like to get, if it's possible, if you need, can facilitate or not, we don't know, but we need also staff study tours and also knowledge sharing if it's possible. And also we are looking for labor and outsourcing and training cheese making also. We used to have one qualified person for this, product, but right now he left us. So that's why we stopped, and we will start it later when we get someone who is qualified on this. And also we would like to meet ISO standards in order to sell our products in the other also markets. But as a Malab dairy, there's one problem that we are facing right now, and we don't know if UNITA can facilitate or do something about it. There's illegal market which we are facing in the market. The AMSOM or the African Union or the product of African Union has been sold in the market, which with a low price, which because not intended to resell it, but right now it's in the market, and it's a great problem which we are facing in the when it comes to the selling of products. Lots of people are choosing that kind of product because it's being given for them just something very simple, less than $1, or sometimes even 0.5, something like that. So that's the great problem that we are also facing when it comes to selling our product in the market. Even though the quality is different, but it's still created as a problem since the majority of the population are very poor and they are not able to buy. When it comes to they don't like to choose for the quality, but they prefer for the price when it comes to the yogurt. So that's one problem that we are facing in the market, and we would like to recommend this kind of issue to address UNITA if it's possible to the other the concerned parts. And the other one we would like to also address is mostly when we need a machine or something, we bought from China or Turkey or something like that due to the accessibility. For instance, when we need to buy a machine, just it's simple to buy from China. You can go just to the web portals, which is easy, and you can find it like Alibaba or this kind of things. But also, if we are going to buy it from Europe or even if it's from Italy, we need to have like that kind of facilitation or web portals so we can find the companies which produces the machines we are looking for. And that kind of platform also is very important. I don't know if it exists, but if it don't, it needs to be created. And the rest I will leave to my colleagues, and I would like to conclude my presentation to this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. Indeed, this event is aimed to support you in finding the right counterparts for you. So the right machinery manufacturers and machinery providers for your company. I'm seeing among the participants several Italian companies involved in the production of machinery for UHT milk processing machine and so on. So I think we can find for you right counterparts for your business.
Thank you.
Yeah, Malab Dairy Company and also the others will obviously be available the B2B session in the days to come. So after the event, we can listen your opinion from the Italian companies. I can call you in the days to come in order to organize private meetings with them. Okay.
Thank you.
Glad now to give the floor to Mr. Sahal Abdulle, representative of Somali Bovine Genetics Company. Sahal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Francesco, and thank you, UNIDA, for organizing this wonderful event. And thank you for Sir Isa for painting exactly a very good picture of where we stand today. If I could have the presentation. Excellent. As Francesca said, my company is called Somali Bovine Genetics. The company was established almost 6 years ago. And the first phase was, as Professor Isa mentioned it, we need to upgrade our local cows since they are not the type that will produce a milk that will be good for processing plant or industry plant. So in the last 6 years, I was busy with upgrading that, importing genetics, breeding, and that has gone and gave us a quite a good result. Also, it is easier to import animals, say, from Kenya or Europe for that matter, but there is a challenge in terms of heat resistant and dealing with local diseases. So I was busy creating an animal that can produce, say, as much as in Italy or our East African countries, but at the same time be able to resist the heat stress and also adapted local diseases. And if I can have the second slide, please. So that is more of the background of SBG. And of course, once you get the animal, the next thing will be the nutrition and the fodder, which was completely non-existent. So that was our second phase to establish that and look for expertise, equipment, feeds, and what have you. And that is almost coming to an end in terms of the feed and what have you. If I could get next slide, please. The mission is almost the same as I mentioned earlier. Originally, SBG, Somali Bovine Genetics, was to get an animal that would produce enough milk, but at the time have the resistance of heat stress and local diseases, and also give you enough milk with locally produced fodder and feed. If I could go to, again, this is again the same. So we established the farm, we established the breeding center. Of course, everything was destroyed. So we, not only in order to do the breeding and the semen, you have to have liquid nitrogen plant and what have you. So it took a while, but now I could say all that area has been established. Next slide, Francesca, please. Again, this is a summary of what SBG has done so far and the need that it want to ensure locally. And I can go to the next slide, please. This is very much our needs, because I think I have done now the two previous phases, and now I'm coming to phase 3, which is producing a milk for local consumption. What do you call machineries, cheese, pasteurization. So this is pretty much the equipment that I will need for my third phase, which will be to produce fresh milk, yogurt, and cheese for local consumption. As my colleagues mentioned, we require not only equipment, but technological or know-how, technical expertise, partnership, and I think by the fact that this webinar is taking place in Italy, I think it's ideal because when you meet with the Italian company, you don't have to explain where Somalia is or what Somalia is like. There is a generations of Italian and Somalis doing business. So they understand the environment, they understand the people, they understand the culture. And I think it will also the other way around, the Somalis the same. So I think it would not have been done anywhere else in Europe. That would be, I think, an ideal platform today. And for that, I will include my little presentation, and I will be up for questions later on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sahal. Very, very interesting. Also, your company. I'm sure that among the participants, we can find someone interested in negotiating with your company, with you. Now, I'm glad to give the floor to Mr. Yusuf. Yusuf Abdirahman, representative of Some Milk business company in Mogadishu. Yusuf, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Francesco. Thank you, all of you. Very good. Some milk dairy farm was established in 2016, and first was started for the 3 cows imported from Kenya. And now it is over 100 cows. Some milk uses artificial insemination with the company of SBG, Chinese company. Now, okay, continue. Now we produce over 700 liters of milk per day. The company produces the company produces only fresh milk and yogurt. In the future, we would like to produce cheese and other products. Our company offers university students practical training to raise their educational. These trainings include feed formulation, renewable energy, and hydroponic product training. Our company uses a biogas sector and solar panels. Currently, we would like the machines that we like are patch pasteurized, milk centrifuging pump, yogurt filling machine, full automatic cap covering and sealing machine, and cooling tank. Is that all? Thank you very much for the short presentation. Hello.
Hello, Yusuf. Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes. The conclusion is some mill needs these machines to contribute and advance their business. A batch pasteurized machine, yogurt filling machine, full automatic cap covering machine, and sealing machine, and cooling tanks to advance our business. For instance, is that all?
Okay, thank you, Yusuf. So these are a series of pictures regarding the some milk dairy farms. This is your marketing strategy, and also I think you already mentioned the needs in terms of equipment. Yeah. So, Yusuf, would you like to add anything?
No, thank you. It's all of that.
Okay. So, thank you very much also, Yusuf. Also, your presentation will be published in Unido IT per Italy website, so you can review it and ask for questions about the presentation of some milk. Now we give space to questions. To question and answers, starting from the first one from Danilo Calcaterra. What is the situation regarding farming plants? Is everything done primarily in a diffused way, or are there also small, big firms that centralize the farming industrial plants? As far as I know, in Somalia, the average extension of farms is around 5-10 hectares in more or less in Mogadishu area, but also in other areas of the country. But obviously, I would like to give the floor to my colleagues in the field to briefly explain which is the situation of farming, which is the extension of farming in Somalia. Probably Najib.
Can I come in, please?
Oh, Professor Isse, yes, sure.
Thank you very much. And I mean, I myself would have been experienced for the last 3 months that I'm very much active in the area of specifically for the dairy farming is very much, I would have said, after I've seen this with Sahal, Muhammad, and Yusuf, which I really congratulate, to be honest with you, very much, I would say, congratulations. And may Allah make them easy for their businesses to prosper and be as well a very good example for the rest of Somalia, who are very, very weird when it comes to the livestock activities, if you like. So very well done, mashallah, all of you guys. But what I have seen is exactly a little bit of a gap, if you like, between the proper knowledge of what I've called the 4 basics, which you might say there is already filled the gaps in between, because what we have seen in Sahal and Yusuf and Muhammad is they have already done very much better things that maybe a foreigner have seen. This would it be something, wow, is this possible in Somalia? But yet again, still there is a gap of knowledge to be applied in the actual dairy farming system. If you see, there's no controlling of the government side, if you like, and there's no more standardization, which has been enforcement, if you like, of not using the milk, the raw milk, which has been produced locally, unofficially, if you like, which would have been help these producers to be a bigger in terms of either dairy farm itself or the plant that have been carrying the 700 that Yusuf produces, the 500 I think the Sahel produces, all of that. Had it been there, a law enforcement, then the other local little small producers would have been given their milk straight to these plants, and we would have got a very fresh, healthy, I mean, a milk the technical side, we didn't, I think, incorporate the animal health, the animal nutrition, within it, the health in the nutrition, and the genetic that Mr. Sahal was saying about it, which is a very much difficult for us, and the animal welfare, which actually a positive for the farmers to produce a better, healthy animals, which could produce a lot. And that is what I say in my speech, which is a very, very important for the UNIDO and the Italian companies to maybe help a consultant, a professional consultant that could help the extension, if you like, of the dairy and of course the beef sector of Somalia, not only for the ruminant, the big ruminant, but also for the small ruminant as well. So I would say yes, there is a gap of organization, if you like. There is a gap of milk processing plant, which is a very, very nascent, a very embryonic, if you like, which would need, because if you take, for example, all of the three, I think they came from Mogadishu, and Mogadishu is actually almost 2.5, 3, 4 million, some people they say, and they couldn't cope without the law enforcement, and actual more practical knowledge to bring in their farms and encourage others to be part of it. I'm off. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We have another question. We have another question regarding the Mr. Daniel Basile from Comat. Thank you. Ciao, Daniel. I would like to ask which kind of cheese are the most common, fresh or semi-hard? And also, is there any demand for pizza cheese? So I can give the floor to the companies. The kind of cheese, and also if there is demand for pizza cheese. Sahal or Yusuf or Mohamed? Yusuf, please.
The most common is beef cheese and mozzarella cheese. The most commonly used in Somali is that cheese.
Okay. So there is also demand for pizza cheese, you mean? Sal, would you like to add anything regarding this question?
Yes, I think as Yusuf said, beef cheese mozzarella will be, I think, quite in high demand, even though we don't have buffalo. As you know, mozzarella, the best one comes from the buffalo. The other hard cheese that is in big demand is Parmigiano cheese. Those are, I think, with the two big, and of course the other diaspora, of course, come up with other hard cheese and here and there. But those, I would say, would be the two top ones in big demand in the market right now.
Okay, thank you, Sal. Daniel, we can organize a separate meeting with you during next week or later, as you can also propose your equipment. The question, Frides Whaley. First of all, I would like to thank all the dairy companies who presented great presentation. I also would like to thank Professor. Okay, thank you, Frides, to take part in this webinar. Coming to Mr. Zucchi Filippo, sono previsti in futuro, so we are planning governative programs to support the domestic production. Okay, I don't find the...
May I come in?
Yeah, the domestic production. Yes, I don't know if in the future we are planning that, but we as UNIDO, we are supporting companies to accede to know-how and also to invest in promotion, so to technology from abroad. Regarding national programs, I can give the floor to Professor if like.
We will have everyone anyway.
Programs to support the milk production in Somalia.
I mean, our experience, as Sahal said, which we did, alhamdulillah, survive from the last government up until now, is that, to be honest with you, and I would like today to present some of the government officials, because this is the most, what you call, cursed, if you like. The livestock actually is cursed, because right from the beginning of our independence, the government that we did start, they have never been given their role and the importance that we have traditionally and economically. I say traditional because Somalis are said well in the literature. You can see on our culture and the way we speak everything, that the Somalis are nomadic. They are animal rearers that we do in a nomadic system way. But the reason why I'm saying that was a scarce the animal producer, all the Somalis, which are anyway, is because they never been get the right policy to develop right from the inception of our governance, if you like, or statehood. And it still is going on. And that is the main things that we need to underline. When it comes now as such, we have a livestock ministry, we have a agricultural ministry, we have a fishery ministry, which directly actually have something to do with the policies and the support that have been expected from Somalia. Now, one of these guys, I don't remember, I think it was Yusuf or Sahal, they were complaining about the importers. They were complaining about the units that have been infested, if you like, the market with a very cheap byproduct animals. I myself have been experiencing some people who do the poultry in a time, which is the peak of the, egg production to get a good market. They couldn't do it, and they put in refrigerators to wait the 3 days to go end it. Why? Because they have been an import that have been very, very much cheap, which has not even been tested and proven their safety. The main thing that have been underlying is not the private sector. The private sector is doing whatever individually or organization, as we are now talking the Chamber of Commerce, they're doing their best, and they are very well known for the resilience that they do. Take, for example, these three now that we have with us, Sahal, and Yusuf, and Mohammed. They are trying their best, but what is actually missing is the government policy, which needs to support their producers, where they are going to be the commercially now beginning, or whether it's going to be our traditional animal production, which is very much marketable, which is going to be very much benefit for the government, very much useful for the society. And that is a very, very big, and that's why I was saying that I wish some government official would have been here now today. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your reply. We have a question from Roberto Calza. What is the average price for an average mozzarella cheese based on the local producers and imported cheese? So what is the average price? So Sal, if you'd like to reply, or Yusuf or Mohamed.
Unmute, Sahal, unmute.
Yes, the average price of mozzarella cheese is $15 per kg.
$15 per kilo?
Per kilo, yeah, 15 kg
okay.
$15 per kilo.
$15 per kilo. Okay.
Look, that is what I was saying. Somali cannot locally compete with the imports unless there is no tariffs, a punitive tariff, because that is not the way to reduce the national industry. They need to be and in fact, the government is running to be part of the WTO in this condition now, which is a very much shame.
Yeah, of course, yeah, you are right. Yes, in fact, the question is based on the local producers and also imported cheese. So I think the $15 per kilo is the.
I have also heard, sorry to interrupt, I've also heard $20 in Mogadishu.
Yeah. Okay, which is the average price. So we can consider $15–20 per kilo. Another question is why the companies are not coming together and make cooperation. Indeed, the companies, they presented separately, but they are part of UNIDO EDU, so they are together, and also they're part of the Somali Chamber of Commerce. So they're acting together and they are supported together.
Can I get as well? I will give you a side, guys. Let me. If you take, for example, in the Somali Chamber of Commerce, nowadays we did start with another company that we have partnered with them to actually pursue the different sectors. We have already talked with the fishery sector. On the 4th of April, we have the livestock, and I would rather welcome these guys to be part of it, just to talk about these actual issues, that if they could see a benefit in making an association that they could be very much stronger. Thank you.
Yeah, Professor. Let me add also that the cooperative model in Somalia is very, very well diffused. We organized last week a webinar on agriculture machineries, and in the agriculture sector, the farms, most of the farmers are associated in cooperatives. So the cooperation in the Somali business environment is very well diffused. Danilo Calcaterra, as regards the waste management, is there necessity to manage it, or is it left on the field as much of the farming is made outdoor? Good question. For the companies, Sahal, Yusuf, for waste management.
If I can answer that, pretty much now, because our soil, there's a lack of fertilizer and what have you. So the waste management in terms of the manure, in terms of the leftover of the field, I have been using, and some of my colleagues have been using compost, producing biogas, which gives you both free natural gas and also a slurry that can be diluted and used as a free fertilizer. But we are not where we are supposed to be. I think we are sort of our infant stage.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sahal. I don't see other questions. I think we replied to all your question. Roberto Fiore, raccolta latte dei piccoli, so the collecting of milk from small producers is organized with cold chain through the companies that process milk. So the cold chain is existing in your companies or not?
There is no any centralized cold chain in Mogadishu or complete in Somalia, I think.
Centralized cold chain.
Yeah, there is no any centralized cold chain.
Yeah, so you bring the milk to some company that centralize the cold chain and then transform the milk.
No. We mostly buy with fresh. You see, there's without any cold storage.
Okay, so
but for us as a Barab Dairy, we have a cold chain, even though it's not large, but we have a cold chain that we can manage our product until we check to the market.
Yeah, of course, it depends on the company. So there is some company which cold chain and some company that probably gives the milk to local transformers. Per impianti pastorizzazione latte, che norma di riferimento c'è? Ok, what is the law? What is the law regarding the pasteurization process in Somalia? Do you use used plants, so plants with regeneration?
Guys, Sahal, Yusuf, Ahmed.
And I think there are few small plants. Malab has one. There is another company that has one. But coming from nomadic society, we are still using the boiling method. And as your country representative, Igor, started, that is creating an 85% loss of our milk. And that's why a lot of milk is being imported to Somalia because of the lack of cold chain and lack of proper processing plant. And I think that's what brought all three of us today to this meeting, just to see if we can address that or get the expertise to help us in that, to sort of set it up a proper centralized.
May I come?
Yes, Professor, go ahead.
May I come in, Mr. Palocco?
Yeah, please.
Palocco.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you. I mean, whatever gap they may exist in the dairy production, or let's say the livestock sector, or agriculture in general, whatever gap it may be there, what would have encouraged these guys or others to be in this business is actually the law enforcement, which needs to be favoring. Because as far as there is a border milk coming, apple is coming, already dairy milk is coming, even chicken is being imported to Somalia. As far as this importation exists, which only needs to be put on a tariff, I say punitive tariff, to be put on that, they don't have any chance to survive, to be honest with you. So what is actually missing is, yes, we do talk about the technicality in animal health, animal nutrition, genetic and breeding programs, and animal welfare as well. That is a very simple technical things. But what is missing is the political support of these guys. Because you cannot ask, is there anything that they are trying their best, to be honest with you, but what is missing is the government side, which is not even thinking. And I said right, and I say that loudly, right from the beginning of the governments of Somalia. So if we don't push and make maybe a pressure group to push for the livestock, agriculture and fishery guys, the ministers of these, to put in place and enforce that law, which actually makes it punitive, except what they need. We don't need a milk powder to be imported in Somalia. We don't need chicken to be imported in Somalia. We don't need eggs to be imported in Somalia. It's not an essential for the life. You could say that is a commodity. But if you see the benefit of these guys that we have is safe product, employment, income generated for themselves, taxation for the government, all of that are the benefit that government could see that. I'm off.
Yes, thank you so much. So, Roberto Fiore, è possibile avere le slide? Yeah, of course, yeah, we can. You can find the slides on our website after the event. So it's obviously you can also write me. I wrote on the chat my email address f.pallocca@unido.org, so you can write me after the event regarding particular questions, or also to arrange B2B meetings with the Somali companies.
Can I make a question, Mr. Pallocca?
A question? Yeah.
Question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is for the Italian company and UNIDO. What is the plan, or what is the approach, if you like, of UNIDO and the Italian company would like to support or partner with these companies and different organizations that do exist?
Yeah. So our mandate is to create a proper business environment. So we can support companies in Somalia and Italy to negotiate to develop business partnerships. So I will personally follow the negotiations in Italy regarding the companies that took part in this event and Italian companies, but also with other companies who didn't join the event but are part of EDU network. So our promotional mandate will be aimed to further the creation of a trade partnership between them. I don't know if Igor would like to add anything about that. Otherwise,
let's if there is any opportunity, particularly coming from the Italian companies, but you answer to the question. Dr. Risse, on that point, happy to discuss. You know very well what is our role, so you are part of the team. It's a rhetoric question, I believe.
Yeah. It's a poking question. So it was a poking question that we need to rethink, because if we miss and do the wrong step, that is going to be jeopardized, because there's so many different examples, if you like, that have been interested, generally speaking, in the federal countries, specifically in Somalia and our neighboring countries, that have been already well developed, different sectors of that. And that's what we would have been trying to underline. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't find other questions. Thank you very much to all the participants. Thank you very much to all the speakers. If you would like to add anything, we can close this webinar. I remain at your disposal in the days to come to organize B2B meetings with the Somali companies participating. And let's keep in touch to organize B2B, but also for other events organized in Somalia for other sectors. For instance, we will have a meeting on fishery in end April. Probably you were not interested in it because you are companies in dairy sector, but just to mention that we are open to several business, several sectors of the industry in Somalia. Thank you very much. So let's keep in touch. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.